Off the bat, I want to ask you a question that honestly sounds completely absurd. Could a single software download actually cost an independent developer $10 million? I mean, it sounds like massive hyperbole, right? Like some weird theoretical thought experiment you'd hear in a law school classroom. But as we're going to see today, this has actually become a terrifying real-world reality for independent developers who are simply trying to share free software with the world.
So, how on earth did we get here? Well, it all comes down to a legal concept called OS-level age attestation. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically, this is a new type of legal mandate that requires the operating system itself to create built-in mechanisms to verify or attest to a user's age. Think about what this actually means under the hood. We aren't just talking about a website asking for your birth date anymore. We're talking about the very core of your computer, the operating system itself, being forced to act as an age gatekeeper. And to do that, it usually requires centralized identity servers, meaning your personal device constantly has to phone home to some authority to prove who you are. This massive shift in regulation really started picking up steam with the UK's Online Safety Act, but it is spreading like wildfire across the Americas and potentially the entire globe. Now, here is the absolute crux of the problem: the massive disparity in who is actually making this software. On one side, you have big tech. We're talking Microsoft, Apple, Google. They have literal billions of dollars set aside for compliance budgets, and they already have tons of built-in telemetry tracking their users anyway. If they accidentally mess up an age verification process, sure, they get a massive fine, but they have the capital to just absorb it. On the flip side, you have independent Linux distributions. These are mostly passion projects built on literally zero budget. They enforce incredibly strict privacy rules, and they give their software away entirely for free. Imposing the exact same sweeping legal framework on both of these fundamentally different entities creates a really dangerous situation. A minor compliance failure might be a rounding error for Apple, but it means total, unrecoverable annihilation for a Linux developer. To truly grasp the severity of this threat, let's zoom in on a real ground-level example. Enter Hyperbola Linux. This is a highly specialized, fiercely privacy-respecting operating system. It's known in the tech community as a chef's kiss distribution because it's just so incredibly lightweight and efficient that it runs beautifully even on a 20-year-old 32-bit ThinkPad laptop. And you might be wondering, why does a 32-bit system even matter today? Well, it isn't just about retro nostalgia. It's really about accessibility and preventing massive amounts of e-waste. It allows users in lower-income regions, or honestly anyone who just doesn't want to throw away perfectly good hardware, to have a secure, modern computing experience. It is the absolute definition of grassroots tech preservation and open access. And this brilliantly illustrates their unique vulnerability. Hyperbola's core philosophy is 100% dedicated to providing entirely free software. They strictly follow the Free Software Foundation's rules regarding user freedom. They have a relentless, uncompromising focus on privacy, meaning there is absolutely zero telemetry or data collection built into their system. So imagine telling them to build an invasive, identity-tracking age attestation system into Hyperbola. It wouldn't just be difficult to code. It would be a total, fundamental contradiction of the very reason this operating system exists in the first place. Centralized age tracking is literally incompatible with decentralized, anonymous software. And here is where we get a massive plot twist in our story. The initial idea, the foundational concepts, and the very creation of the Hyperbola project stems from a convention down in Brazil. And that specific geographic origin is about to become incredibly, dangerously relevant to our story.
Because just days ago, Brazil officially enacted what is shaping up to be one of the world's most brutal and sweeping age attestation laws. So, simply by having historical ties to Brazil, this tiny, ultra-private, entirely free operating system suddenly finds itself standing directly in the firing line of massive, state-level digital regulations meant to rein in billion-dollar corporations.
So, what actually happens if they fall afoul of this new law? Well, the penalty is a staggering $9.5 million. Seriously, if a single user in Brazil downloads Hyperbola, installs it on an old laptop, and the operating system fails to legally attest to their age, the creators of this free software face a fine of 50 million Brazilian reals per single violation. That translates roughly to $9.5 million for one unverified download. Now hold that $10 million thread in your head for a second and compare it to reality. $27. That's it. That is Hyperbola's entire monthly revenue, which is generated solely from a few dedicated Patreon supporters. You have a legally mandated $9.5 million fine hanging by a thread over a passion project that brings in less than $30 a month. The financial math here isn't just unbalanced, It's completely surreal.
But wait, it actually gets worse. The threat doesn't stop at bankruptcy. Beyond those ruinous financial fines, the law includes a cascade of additional legal penalties. We're talking temporary suspension of their activities entirely, complete prohibition from physically entering the country of Brazil, the mandatory and highly expensive appointment of a formal Brazilian legal representative, plus additional fines of up to 10% of their regional revenue. These laws are perfectly designed to force massive compliance teams at tech giant headquarters to snap to attention. But when you apply that exact same hammer to a handful of independent developers, it literally makes it legally impossible for them to function.
Which naturally leads us to a pretty grim realization. Are they going to be legally destroyed? I mean, when you have personal liability on the line and absolutely zero money to fight back in court, it really does seem like a single unauthorized download could ruin this entire project forever. Actually, it forces a bigger question. Why would anyone continue to write free software at all if the personal risk is instant, unrecoverable bankruptcy?
What's actually saving them right now is honestly just a crazy quirk of geography. Yes, their origins are in Brazil, which obviously carries a massive threat level right now, but their actual physical web server is safely tucked away in Luxembourg. And right now, the European Union doesn't currently have this specific hyper-aggressive OS-level age law in place. So simply because their server hardware physically sits in Europe, they are legally insulated from the Brazilian jurisdiction for the moment. It's this super fragile loophole of international server architecture that's literally keeping the whole project alive today. But they are definitely not out of the woods. In fact, this project is the ultimate canary in the coal mine for all free software. Because as it turns out, Hyperbola maintains a server mirror in Boston to speed things up for North American users. Now, right now, various U.S. age attestation laws are being passed at state levels. They aren't fully active yet, but they are looming right on the horizon. The moment Massachusetts or federal U.S. law flips the switch on OS-level age verification, that Boston server transforms from a helpful community tool into a massive financial liability. And remember, if a niche operating system can be targeted this way, that exact same legal logic applies to the privacy tools, open-source browsers, and ad blockers that you probably rely on every single day.
Now you might be thinking, well, there's an easy fix here. Just geoblock the users from straight countries. Just block anyone with a Brazilian or US IP address from downloading the software, right? Well, this is what we call the geoblocking fallacy. Doing that goes against the fundamental ethos of open access and the entire open source community. If you start fencing off the internet country by country, you inevitably alienate the very user base you are trying to serve in the first place. More importantly, you destroy the global, borderless collaboration that built the very foundations of the internet we all use.
And that brings us to the core issue at the heart of this explainer. As these broad, sweeping tech regulations inevitably spread across the globe, it leaves us with one incredibly critical, provocative question to ponder. In a future world that legally demands constant digital surveillance and billion-dollar compliance budgets, is there still a place for free, open-source software built by everyday people? If a simple desire to build a private, lightweight system for an old laptop carries a $10 million risk, we really have to step back and ask ourselves, what kind of internet are we actually legislating into existence? Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this gives you a completely new perspective on the hidden downstream costs of our changing digital landscape.